Awesome. So we're live and recording. A very warm welcome to Ofir Krakowski, who's founder CEO of DeepDub AI. Ofir, what a great pleasure to actually have you today speak to the Vitrina community. One a key aspect about the Vitrina community is that we are 100 countries strong now, and our network is more than 70,000 experts from the entertainment supply chain who are super interested in all innovative things that are happening inside the entertainment industry. And whether those are technological, whether those are softwares, best practices, or just great content, and in the service of that, essentially that's what we deep dive on. And today it's Deep Dub AI that we are focused on. Very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Atul, for having me here, and kudos for all of the community that you've built.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And again, our key focus is really to make some of the most innovative companies, solutions, and products and content the hero of our story. So, one of the places that I'd love to start off with is, would love to get your background. I know that you are deeply technical in your prior life, right? Data science, architect. So tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll come to Deep Dub.
Yeah, so maybe talking about my background is we need to understand I started as a geek child using technology, built on the first Apple computers and build my skills. Have more than 30 years of experience in computer science, building products, different products.
Mm-hmm.
I had some experience in the Israeli Air Force building actually the AI department there. And since then, I've built, this is the second company I've built in the AI sector. Um, but talking about AI is a little bit different for me because since we started back at before the 2020s, it was back then called deep learning. So they
That's right.
just changed the name, but it's actually in AI.
That's right.
So essentially, this is I had the background in technology, and when starting DeepDub, I built my background around understanding entertainment, media, and entertainment deeper. But this is part of my affection, and you can see even my background. It's actually my office. So I'm a big fan. Just returned from Japan from the celebration there. So I'm a big fan of media and entertainment in a whole, and this was just the way of combining two things that I'm passionate around it, which is technology and media and entertainment together.
Fascinating, fascinating. And tell us a little bit about the story about how Deep Dive started out. Was it a specific insight? Was it your focused on a particular problem statement that you wanted to solve? Was it a personal experience of some sort? How did the Deep Dub path really start off for you?
Yeah, so maybe it's a quite an interesting story because what we have started back in 2019, nobody actually thought of building generative AI voice models back then,
Right.
most of the technology around voice models was in the big the five big tech companies, and most of the researchers went into actually voice recognition and not for voice generation. So we had some tools around it. But the reason we started the company is when we understood that actually, 60% of the content in the internet is in English, when 90% of the population of the world doesn't speak English. So we understood this is a straightforward problem that we need to solve, and we understood that traditionally in the localization industry was built for the past 100 years on a traditional way. So it's a very hard labor working in providing the very high best quality, but you can do it for a little amount of content because the time and the cost that it consumes. So
Right.
this will probably continue. The tentpole movies, tentpole TV series will
Yeah,
probably continue to be provided by humans, but there are hundreds of millions of YouTube channels that nobody is considering localizing them,
that's
right?
right.
But they are considered. So we realized that in 2019, and we tried to understand how we can solve this problem, and we understood that localization and voice models are going to be the next operating system
Okay.
of the world. So actually, if back in 2019, everybody used text like textbook, other means of communications were through text, SMS, etc. But we understood that, and I really understood it from my kids because they were sending on WhatsApp voice messages and not text, right?
Interesting.
So they found out that using voice is simpler. And
Right.
then, just we're straightforward that voice is going to change the world. And now we see it evolving through voice agents and other means of using voice models. And this is how
Fascinating.
we started the company.
Fascinating, fascinating. No, that's super interesting, and even some of the changes that have happened since 2019 are just fascinating, right? I mean, we went through COVID, and that again exposed the need for a lot of content that could actually seamlessly be understood from one culture to the other, just because there was suddenly a need for a lot of that content in a very quick sort of window.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, the big thing that I understood early in the journey is when I talked to companies in India, for
Uh huh.
example, and then I understood that there are 20 official languages in India, well,
That's
which
right.
is quite amazing. And you need to dub it because the people there are speaking their own language, and they don't have access to most of the content. Most of the knowledge of the world, which is
That's right.
currently video, is not accessible to those people. It's amazing that, just imagine, if the content would be accessible.
Right.
It's not only about media and entertainment, it's like educational content.
That's right.
Technical content would be accessible to 90% of the population. How humanity will strive.
That's right.
And this is what we aim for. And
Fascinating. No, I can totally see that. And again, you're so right about India, because there are just neighboring provinces that you have completely different languages. But there is some content that's actually great just between one province to the other, and I,
right.
I think that's the amazing opportunity, similar to Europe and some of the other Asian markets as well, where Korean content goes into Japan very routinely. And now Korean content is going, much beyond Japan and Korea, right? It's going pretty much everywhere. That's
Yeah,
right.
I think that, Korean content is currently very popular in Latin Spanish, right?
Yes.
It's like, even in the US, but in Latin Spanish, they really like the Korean dramas. So
Fascinating.
it's like it's fascinating that how content is can be delivered from one language into another and still succeed.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So look, again, localization has been one of our favorite categories. And again, even with our network and community of Vitrina sort of experts, this always comes up as a key discussion point. So this is a great segue then, Offer, to really understanding what DeepDub really does. So, I usually ask all founders and CEOs what their elevator pitch is, and how would you describe, DeepDub and its solutioning?
Yes. So actually, what DeepDub builds is build solutions to eliminate the language barriers. This is in one sentence,
Okay.
and we have different solutions for that. And it's not on the obvious side. So
Hmm.
maybe taking it to another angle. People were all blind. So we're building solution to create actually the audio description solution for them. So actually,
Okay.
it's a different angle around language barrier. It's the language that they cannot see, right? It's not just speaking; it's just they don't see. So we're breaking this language, and we enable it because currently it's a very convoluted process of creating the audio description for them. Um, uh, but around, you know, looking at the company is essentially built a very strong model of creating voices. But it's not only that. We understood it's not only creating. We have a proprietary. It's called ETTS. It's a trademark, and ETTS is emotional text to speech kind of model. And this model is, we understood early in the journey that it's not only around building great technology, is in is around how you manifest this technology for people to use. This is why we have different solution for different sector to use. For example, you can consume our content through an application where you can create content or create localization, or you can use it via API, or you can have an endpoint for live dubbing. So we have a solution for live dubbing. But essentially, they are all built around the same model that creates the voices.
Oh wow. Well, I wasn't aware of the live dubbing solution. That's fascinating. Is that something which is more recent?
Yes. So actually, this was announced 3 weeks ago.
Aha.
And this is a very compelling solution. Um, it can localize content on the fly, so with the latency of 15 seconds, and this will go down to 10 seconds latency in a couple of weeks. And this is in a sense, this would be, the end point, the end goal of our technology is enabling people to seamlessly localize their content. It's not just, media entertainment. It's just, even our talk. Just imagine it could simultaneously be localized into your Latin American audience, or your French audience, or your people who speak Telugu or Hindi or whatever.
Right.
So in this sense, I think that this is what everybody seeks. They want to consume content in their own language because, in this sense, they are more feeling more comfortable.
Right. Fascinating. So, by the way, congratulations on the live dubbing solution. I didn't know it was as recent as 3 weeks. So that's amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
thank you. Yeah.
Um, going back to the stack of solutions with DeepDub, right? If you can just describe, again, localization as we understand it, at the basic level used to be dubbing, subtitling, captioning. That's actually gone into some very sophisticated areas, including, synthetic voices, deep fakes, for especially lip movement and, you know, uh, we now sort of seeing very, very sophisticated solutions come for live dubbing as well. So if you sort of describe your stack, uh, yeah, that'd be great to understand.
Yeah. So we need to understand the localization process. The localization, in order to actually to create a localized content, you need to transcribe the original. You need to split. In order to transcribe it, you need to understand what's the dialogue, because
Yes,
like, even when we talk, there is some background noises, so you need to separate this. So
that's right.
those are phases in the process. So transcription is one, then translate it, and then create from the translation, create the voice that aligns with the translation. So it's not a straight translation, it's translation that can adhere to the context. For example, you see it's formal and not formal. In some language, it's different if you are writing a document or you are talking. So and the end part is mixing back together, the dialogue that you have created with, the music and effects that were separated at the first place. So it's a very convoluted process. And in order to create the dubs at the end, for example, the end goal is live dubbing, you have to do all the phases, all of those phases in a workflow, in a very
Right.
seamless workflow. So this is why it's so complex, and there is some kind of a delay because you need to do it simultaneously in a streaming. But just to understand our tech stack is we have a solution for each part of the process because this was what was needed to create the localization. So actually, we
Okay.
can, on our platform, for example, you can create transcription, you can create even subtitles, you can create the translation, and you can create the dialogue, and you can get the end video lip synced and synced to the original. Um, we've just released a very cool feature on the translation part, which is AI aided translation, which is not just using an LLM, kind of a ChatGPT, but you can ask him question around the content. So, for example, if you have in an original, if you are a translator and you want to understand what is the context of the text that you are about to translate, or you want to check the context that it was translated automatically, you can ask the AI aider what is the context? What are you translating right now? What is this word in this sentence? How it relates to other content? So and I can push the result back into a translation. So it's very powerful where I can use it to better translate the content. Because
Hmm.
in some cases, I have to move content from one language to another language. So there is kind of a mistranslation. So something is lost in the translation. Why is that? Because the translation is around the way that we translate, that we're doing a straight translation. Most
Hmm.
of the LLMs are doing straight translation. So if you understand the context, or you can even imply some logic to the translation, you can, for example, I can take a content and tell it that this is a drama content. So now the translation is a little bit different than uh, uh, maybe a reality show.
Hmm.
Okay,
Understood.
so I can ask the translation agent to help me with that.
Understood. And then, is this also accompanied with a workflow solution?
Yes,
How does that?
definitely. So,
Yeah.
F is we are currently integrated with two of the major studios integrated into the workflows. So
Okay.
actually, what we provide is an integrated solution. You just upload your content, or is uploaded in your platform, and then it takes into our platform and back to your platform. And so there is a complete workflow, localization workflow within our platform. But since we've developed each part of it, so as we work with big enterprises, in some cases they want to provide their technology in some parts of our platform, so we enable them to do it or to integrate some parts of our technology into their workflow. So we're
And
very flexible around it. For
so,
example, you can integrate our technology through an API to your workflow.
interesting. Interesting. So, um, what constitutes a bulk of your clientele? Is it studios? Is it distributors? Is it streamers? Is it all of the above?
All of
Where
it.
do you really play?
Yeah. So obviously, there is a big difference between what companies are actually publishing to what actually is going beneath the carpet,
Yes.
as a meaning of speaking. Uh, uh, um, so obviously, most of the distributors, broadcasters, and big studios are currently looking into AI technology. It's not replacing, the traditional way of doing the tentpole movies, tentpole TV series, but there is a lot of library content that they have that's
Okay.
currently not monetized,
Uh huh. Yes.
right?
Yes. That's
And
it.
in terms of unit costs, it doesn't make sense to do it with traditional
Yes.
ways. And also in terms of the capacity, because we're talking about thousands of hours out in their libraries, and actually it doesn't make sense to do it in a traditional way. So it's not actually replacing the traditional workflow. It's actually building another workflow around libraries.
And the unit economics, for some of these TV series, for instance, which are maybe archival content, large libraries, right? That's really where a lot of these solutions become then much more economical to sort of bring in.
Yes, definitely. They can drop your time, to broadcast, or time, or even the cost by 50 to 70%, which is
Wow,
really impressive
pretty
because some of the company invest a lot of capital in localization.
okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
and this is a means to get monetized in different locations. So if you have content in English, you can
Right.
monetize in English speaking countries. But if you want to go for Japan, nobody
Yep.
could, nobody would consume it in English, right? For example, or if you want to go to France, nobody could consume it in English. So we need to localize it. And we see more and more companies trying to localize it. In terms of distributors, so they have to content, that they never sold it in some regions because it was too costly
That's
to
right.
localize it into this region. So now
That's
they can localize it and sell it in those regions.
understood. Understood. So, does that become a large bulk of? So, let's describe a couple of scenarios, right? Distributor has a large library of content, wants to go into a new territory that they've never sold into because of language barriers. DeepDub, they connect with you with DeepDub, and then essentially you help them localize, that entire library. So that's one scenario, correct?
Yes,
And
that's
then,
definitely.
mhm,
So the way that we work, we build a relationship around with those companies. So we start small and then expand.
okay,
Um, we support their tests because in some cases they want to test the territory. So it's easy to test with the AI because it's faster. So
yes,
you can test how the territory is reacting to a certain content. If a content, for example, is successful, they can move and go more into the library and dive into this region and publish more content there.
hmm,
Um, but this is, for example, distributors. But we can see other players that they have a strategy. They've built, for example, companies that
yep,
are solely based to monetize on this
yep.
library content.
And would there be a scenario where they might split, saying that what these are critical languages where we actually have already dubbing through the traditional route, and these are the languages of markets where we want to use AI because these are maybe new markets that they want to open up. Is that does that also happen?
Yes, definitely. I think that in some markets, and it's not only on the market side, but on the maybe on the quality tier of the content. For example, tentpole TV series that probably go into traditional way of dubbing, right?
Okay.
It's like doing, a custom-made picture. You
Yes,
want the artist to do it. You don't want to reprint it from somewhere.
that's right.
So it's not that AI dubbing is not in a high quality. It's just that you get more attention from a human
Sure.
perspective when you're doing it with a traditional way. You can get a very specific quality that you want.
Right.
When and you mentioned before that using AI dubbing or AI localization is more about scaling. So when
Yes,
you're doing sale, you by yourself don't have the means, to supervise the level of quality because it's about hundreds and thousands of hours of content, right? So you
that's right.
need to build a pipeline that can support these amounts.
And then, so that's so true, actually. So when it comes to the actor voices, is there a selection that sort of the end customer has to do for specific voices? Is it per character? How describe a little bit about how that works?
Yeah. So in most cases, when we're talking about content for media and entertainment, the content owner doesn't own. If you are talking about library, they don't have the permission of the cast to use their voices,
Right.
right? Probably in the future contracts, this would be part of the
You
contract.
will.
and this would so kind of a voice cloning or using the original cast voices would be more uh, um,
Part of the contract itself. It might
part of the
be.
content and use more. But
That's right.
currently, what we're using our library of voices.
Okay.
So most of the content is creating using our voice. So casting the voices is done automatically using AI is trying to match the best
Ah,
voice for the content. And the way that we're doing it is we've built since we've built early the company, we one of the processes of building the models were gathering a lot of data and buying it, actually buying a lot of recordings of it. Doesn't have to be a voice actor that does it. So it's in some cases there are people from the street that are getting paid, and it's
that's right.
all arranged legally that they are contributing the voices. So we're trying to be very moral around it and really
Got
tell people what we're going to do with the voices. So build a huge library. And another thing that we've done early in the process that we understood that the way to expand the different locales is being able to extract the accents. So, for example, I can take a voice that was recorded in Argentina and use it to localize into Japanese. So the way to do it is taking the Argentinian accent and just using the flavor of the voice, right? The
Okay.
color of the voice, but in a Japanese language. This is why we're also supporting the other way around. So if you want to use, for example, in English, you have different voices. For example, British English or Australian English. This is the same language, but it sounds different.
Right.
So you can add this to a voice. So if you have a voice
Okay.
bank, you can add this to his voice. In this way, we can perfectly match a
Uh,
voice from our catalog to match the original. So it's not cloning; it's actually creating
that's right.
the new dialogue from voice from a voice bank.
That is very clever. So it's almost like different permutations and combinations between the flavor of the voice, the accent, and then language, of course.
Right.
And
Right.
then the sounds that I mean, different voices sound different, and I'm sure that's what you meant with flavor of the voice.
Yes. Yes. So in essence, you can create infinite
Infinite combination.
but what is really impactful in this solution that is really you can track back on what voice it was originated. It's not a synthetic voice in the
Right.
sense
Right.
it's a real person voice that you will have. And this is really important for most of the enterprise players in this industry. They want to make sure that you actually have the permission of the voice contributor to use his voice, right? They don't want to be sued
Right.
around
Right.
it.
That's right.
So this is we have a full backtrack of where is the voice originated. So the
Okay.
end result that you are getting is risk free on
Right.
your end.
Understood. Understood. So let's talk a little bit about that was super useful actually, and very exciting just in terms of the number of combinations that one can draw up. From a coverage perspective, how many languages do you support right now? And then which are the big new languages that you're sort of working on with the team?
Yeah, so we are in different levels of quality. We're supporting 130 languages, which is a lot. Uh,
Wow.
the way, as I mentioned, the way we can support them is because we have the accent controlling.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think the barrier is really around the translation part, because not all of the translation engines currently are optimizing on most of the languages at the way that we want it, because we are aiming for the highest quality. So we see even OpenAI, they have a degradation in some of the, for example, the Indian languages,
Yeah.
or as you go down, for example, you don't have a good translation for example, in Hebrew, you won't get a good translation there,
Right.
or in Tamil, or you don't get a good translation in Tamil. So we're using different translation models to compensate
Okay.
on that
Okay.
perspective. But this is why I'm saying there is a different level of quality there.
Okay.
So what we would use is to compensate if we're delivering their end product. We advise the customer that in some languages they may have someone to check the end result.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
Okay, and since we own the full technology, we can use different engines. So as an engine, we see that an engine support a new language, we can incorporate into the platform, and then it automatically uses this engine if you want it in a specific language. So this is one part of the
Okay.
way that we work.
And do you have any constraints over on what the source language has to be, or it doesn't
No,
matter?
we are totally agnostic of the source language.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So you can do go from any language to any other language.
any language to any other language. You
Wow.
can do like 100 languages into 100 languages, and you don't have any constraint on that.
Understood.
I think that this is the way that we thought about it around it. Just lifting off most of the barriers, enabling people to do actually what they want, and getting content, to flow from one end of the world to another world of the world. But actually, great content is created in every part of the world, and till now we have, we were actually been, in a sense, very limited.
Right, 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 right. So I'm going to go back to something that you said earlier. It just struck me that with live dubbing, some of the language could be fairly technical, especially sports, news, financial news, right? Some topics are like very, very nuanced. Do you need to sort of train certain languages and vocabularies for those to flow through very quickly to the end result and the end language that you want to dub into?
So the way is not to train the model; it's just to tell the model,
Okay.
this is sport.
Okay.
Current models are actually trained on a lot of text, so actually they know, but you
They
need
already
to
know.
tune them, just to tune them when they are, just creating the voice and
Okay.
translating, to tune them around the content. And if you want to be very specific around something, so we have glossaries. So for example,
Okay.
if you want it to be around basketball or soccer or football, you can, you ingest into the model the glossary of the specific sport, and
Okay.
then you are making sure that the model is using the specific term,
Right.
because
Right.
it can be confusing in some of the languages.
That's right. That was precisely my point, which is that especially for live dubbing, but that so you have no constraints on language to language, and there are no constraints on even specific topics, as long as the model knows at the beginning, what topic is going to be largely found as part of that content.
Yes, yes,
Understood.
definitely. I
Understood.
think I think the other part that we probably didn't talk about is, are we enabling, voice actors to contribute to the voice and monetize on it. So we have a program that actually voice actors can contribute to their
Okay.
voices and get monetized. And the beauty of it, that they can monetize their voice even in not in their own language, because we
Hmm.
have the accent control. So if someone uses the voices, actually they will be compensated on a voice that
Wow.
was created. If there speaks, for example, Spanish, their native language is Spanish, but somebody uses it to create a Japanese, they still
Right.
can be compensated around it. So we have this program, and the reason we have this program is that we found out that some our customers still want to use, established voices in the region, which is very common, that you have some talent that is providing the voice for a character, so you want to use it, or a voice actors, and we have a lot of voice actors that actually come to us and want, you know, to do more money, right?
Right. 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 Right.
It's like something that is new,
Right.
and it's opening, and they want to actually earn more money with their
That's right.
voice.
Fascinating. So that provision also comes in. and they can how do they essentially give you voice samples, and then that voice can be repurposed.
Yeah, so it's very simple. They contribute
Right.
the voice samples in our application. It's called the royalty plan, so they get royalties whenever someone uses their voices.
Mhm.
And I think this is something which is you know, in a sense, it's not only the voices, because what we see also that voice actors, the dubbing directors are actually using our platform to create dubs on their own. So they have the skills to know what is a good dub
uh,
or a good localization. So now one person can create a 30-person, 100-person cast. So they have 100 characters. So one person have the ability to create. So in a sense, it's they now one person can do a work of 10 person on 10
right.
people, right?
That's right. That's right.
So what we see is a lot of those people in the industry is actually working with us to get the work that they wouldn't have gotten beforehand, because it's
That's
actually,
right.
nobody have done this done before.
That's right. That's right. That's fascinating, actually. Then that's a massive productivity gain as well.
Yes,
Where one person who understands the language can typically then take up that entire library of content, and that content itself might have multiple different voices through multiple different characters, but
yes,
they can all be managed by that one coordinator or one voice expert.
yes.
Fascinating. I'm getting some weird sunlight here, but I'll adjust my position. So the one fascinating aspect of it that I wanted to then understand really was, uh, so let's say there is a distributor who's got a large library of content. Um, how do they really operationalize their relationship with you? Do they upload their content into a software? Is it how does it get operationalized?
So we have on our so you can do it in multiple ways.
Okay.
If you are a distributor, you probably have hundreds of thousands of hours of content. So the way to do it is to connect the endpoints. So actually, you don't have to do anything. You just connect the endpoint to our endpoint, and
Okay.
we're grabbing the content. Sorry, that you are giving us or giving us permission to localize. Sorry for that.
Sure, sure.
And we are just localizing. So in operational wise, I don't know what's going with your voice.
No, no, no. Well,
So operational wise, it would be simple to do it.
understood, understood. Um, and then but you have a platform where a lot of these actions and activities happen.
Yes,
Understood.
the platform is called DeepDub Go.
Okay.
So you can actually access it right now. Go on our website, sign up, and use the DeepDub Go, and you
Hmm.
can upload content and localize it.
Okay.
But if you are an organization, you want it to be a better flow, which is more automated. So you don't need to upload anything.
Understood. Understood. And then, the distributor use case is very clear, where it's all finished content, it's all library content.
Yes.
Are there places where you actually go upstream, in the supply chain? Do you go into, there are other cases where you get involved at the post production side, or maybe even on the production side?
Yes, definitely. Um, the way to use our technology is in multiple use cases. So what we see with big studios is they use our technology in different ways. The first one is ADR. You know, it's very convoluted getting a talent back to the studio to re-record some line, because you want in the editing phase 9 months after you actually film the content just to get him back to. So with our technology, you're doing it seamlessly.
Okay. Okay.
So this is one use case. Another use case is creating trailers. Most of the providers in this industry doesn't want to do trailers because there's a lot of hassles. But actually, what you go into the streaming platform, you see that a lot of content doesn't have a trailer.
Yeah.
But people want to see what they are going to watch. So creating the trailers, it's super easy with our technology. You don't have to bring any talent into the studio. You are just using the original one, or using our voice bank, and you can create it. And so this is another use case in the creation of the content. Um, and we see also people that are actually, what they are using is actually creating the voices for their content. For example, we had a show that they wanted to create. So they had the show that where they are actually filming anonymized people on the show. So they want to anonymize the voice. But till now, what they are doing is actually putting a mask or an audio mask or the voices, so it's kind of becoming a metallic voice, which is
Yes.
not, sound very friendly when you're in a whole show with something which is metallic. So the way to do it without technology is actually replacing the voice.
Uh-huh.
So you are anonymized. It's not the voice of the person that you see or you hear. It's actually another person. It's a voice from our voice bank.
And you don't need to. So essentially, what you're saying then is that you are just it's still the same annotations, the same sort of voice modulation, except that it's a different voice,
Right. So
the
in
same
this
accent,
way,
maybe perhaps.
right, it's you can introduce accent, you can
Yeah.
introduce whatever feature that you want to the voice to anonymize it, right? Not to connect it to a person. So and we see this also as a demand. Another
Okay.
demand is recreate voices. For example, you are doing a show, for example, a documentary or a show where you have a deceased person and you want to recreate the voice. So we had several cases that we wanted to create, and we're working. There are some funny cases where we had a case that we needed. Some of the studios actually wanted us to create a specific voice,
Okay.
to design a specific voice.
Okay.
Um, um, and this was a kind of a custom made work that we've done for them. Is a kind of a, for example, we had one voice that we've created, so they wanted to have the modulation from
Ah.
one person, but they wanted the voice from another person.
Okay.
So you cannot have a voice actors create this kind of
That's right.
it's
That's
only
right.
technology based. So we
Yes.
created voice. It's one of the TV well known TV series. Like obviously I cannot, there are sensitive around it, so
Got it. Got it.
I cannot put it online. But this was also created by technology, and also we've created specific voices for movies, tempo movies that there are voices for inhuman voices, so they cannot be.
Creatures. That's right.
Yeah, alien voices.
Animation.
We needed a machine created voices for them. That's perfect.
Fascinating, fascinating. And then, so a couple of quick aspects relating to just what you're most excited about, from your current set of launches. You mentioned about live dubbing. Is that is that one of many recent launches, or is it the one thing that you're really excited about?
I I think that there are multiple launches that we're planning ahead.
Okay,
The way it is, but I think that live dubbing is the most exciting one of them,
okay,
um, because it it is a use case
hmm.
that really brings and connects people to content in the live form of it, right? Uh, and this use case is actually exemplify where there people are fans of sports, and this is a huge business where and in terms not of a business on the monetizing side of it, just on the human aspect of it, of people actually, we tell everybody that sports is connecting different nations.
That's
We
right.
see Olympics, we see soccer games, we see football games, we see other games that are actually connecting people from around the world. But actually, in order to connect them, really connect them, you need it to be in their language.
That's right.
And I think this is what excites me. It's actually, getting the population of the world, the whole population of the world, participate in the advancement of content, in the advancement of knowledge. This is what excites me. And I think that live dubbing is opening the in a sense is what is creating is a seamless way of doing it, right?
Right, right.
No hassle. So you don't have to cast anything. You don't have to upload anything. It's just streamed.
That's right. That's right. Fascinating. And then this is great. I mean, I think the live dubbing cases, there are just so many different cases, especially relating to exactly what you mentioned, right? News, sports, and anything else that is super topical. Doesn't lose any time from getting from one market to another. So that's super exciting. Um, a couple of other questions relating to streaming platforms, YouTube. What are the plans relating to these? Do you have any special solutions for these? Are they already part of your clientele?
So I think that I'm talking about the big studios. I'm talking about the streaming platform. I think that we're currently supporting most of the streaming platforms out there.
Okay,
If you want to take your content into YouTube, we can support you on this journey. If you want
okay,
to take it into other streaming platforms, we can support it into your this journey. I think that there is a lot of demand right now to fast channels. So people actually trying to build their own channels. They don't want to operate in a specific channel. So what we see is a kind of building your taking a content, your bulk of content, and getting it into fast channels and monetize on that. So we're supporting you in the journey of exploration. You can explore the regions that you
okay,
also because specific content can work in one region but cannot work in other regions. So we are supporting it in this journey,
okay.
and we can support you in localizing a lot of content in a very fast manner, so you can get your content to work in a faster way. So you can your return on investment would be faster.
Yeah, understood, understood. And again, fast channels are very cost sensitive, especially, it's all ad supported. So you are the prospect of opening up a completely new market through, language and dubbing, vis-a-vis the returns that the fast channels will get. I think that could be a pretty exciting prospect. You've recently announced a partnership as well, right, for fast channels. Is that
Yes,
one of many partnerships, or is that a unique one?
definitely. So what we partner is with distributors that have content and they are going on fast channels, and we're partnering with fast channels. For example, So Fast is a cool. They have a cool model
Okay,
that make it very simple to
launch.
content owners to get their content into 160 different regions, different languages around
Wow,
the world. So they have like huge
coverage.
reach around the world. So it's very fast. So we have partnered with them because what we saw in this relationship, and I believe that as we go along, we'll get more and more of that it will be provided as part of the services of fast
Ah,
channels, right? Because actually, if you have a content in one language and working very well, the fast channel itself would have the incentive to offer you to move to other
oh,
languages because now they can monetize as a fast channel into other languages, and you can monetize on that.
that
Uh,
is that is super clever. Actually, I think the fact that it's integrated then, and pretty much can be launched on the fly. Is that right?
yes, definitely. I think
Fascinating.
that the live dubbing solution is part of that.
Aha.
The
Okay.
costs are very low there
Right.
compared to traditional dubbing, and it's good enough for something that you watch once on a fast channel and then you don't watch it anymore, right? You don't come back to watch the same episode again or the same content again. So it cost effective, especially in fast channels, not only in sports and news, but also in fast channels. So I think that and YouTube is a kind of a fast channel because it's
Yes.
based on advertisements, but there are other big fast, kind of a advertisement based AVODs. So are also we see content is going there by distributors using AI, because now it's becoming more affordable
Yes.
to monetize around advertisements only.
Understood. Understood. And last couple of questions actually, Ofer, really relating to costs and pricing. How should some of the customers sort of look at that when they are computing the cost of localization? What would be your advice on how the cost factor should be thought about?
I think this is a very convoluted question because it depends on the region. It
Right.
depends on the demand in the region. So if you are, it depends on the strategy of the company. For example, some companies can, want to invest in this because they have a long-term strategy. Some want to monetize faster, so they
Right.
go for a region that you can monetize a specific content. For example, you can take, if I just mentioned that K drama is very successful in Latin America. So
That's
if
right.
you have content, so specific content, try to build your library faster into Latin America than to other regions.
Okay.
If you have, for example, Indian content, like
Hmm.
Bollywood content, you probably want to go to the United States or even to Arab countries because they like this kind of content,
That's
right?
right.
So, there is a huge populations in the United States. So this is so the region and the way that you want to monetize this would be the fastest way to think about monetization around it, and in
Okay.
terms of cost. I think that if you want to move it, start small,
Uh-huh.
but then you'll get cost effective only on scale. If you are thinking about going around doing one TV series or one channel, this would not be affordable in the long term. But if you want to do multiple channels or multiple languages,
It becomes
obviously
very
this would be very affordable using in general doing localization, especially using AI, because the cost saving is around scale
right.
and not around one off. It's probably be done. You should go to a dubbing studio, and
Got
because you don't have time constraints, and then and
Understood. Understood. So, one since we are a network across multiple markets, Ofer, one question is, which region do you want to now expand into? What's on your wish list when you talk to your sales team, saying that, what, I would love to have more customers from this region. What comes to mind? And again, the reason why I ask this is that we've got our network across multiple markets, and we would love for some of those folks to actually reach out to you through this podcast.
so I think that the Asia Pacific region,
Okay.
I think this is the most advancing part of the world currently, especially India. I think this is the most currently the most growing in terms of growth. The economy is the growth is the region that is mostly unserved in terms of localization, but has the
Tremendous
highest
amount of content.
potential there. The highest
That's right.
potential there, and I think that in terms of underserving, I think that the Indian people are not, are not. They need a better treatment in terms of localization.
Got it.
And I think it would benefit, it would be even accelerate the development of India as they get. And I don't talk about only, media and entertainment content, but only
Right.
also knowledge and supporting those region in evolving faster. So
Got
I
it.
think this is a major region that needs to be dealt in the next years.
Fascinating. And we actually we analyzed Netflix's supply chain last week for a lot of our members. One of the key insights that came out was there is a big push in exactly the countries that you mentioned in Asia, right? There's India, Indonesia, Japan, Thailand, Philippines. Those we've actually seen sort of a lot of activity in those markets, both from Netflix and Amazon Prime. So, I mean, I'm sure the global leaders are, I mean, on the streaming side, are also sort of eyeing these markets. There is a great diversity of content and also a big gap in terms of number of languages that are going in or coming out from those markets.
Yeah, I think to complement what you just said, I think that Japan is a huge market,
That's right.
underserved in terms of not just India and Japan are not underserved only in terms of the content that is coming into the country, but underserved on monetizing of their great content that's created in those countries that is actually not exported.
You're so right. That is so true, actually. So no, that makes a lot of sense. And again, it kind of gives a clue on what kind of companies should reach out. I'm sure some of these companies are listening to what you said and seeing dollar signs in their eyes to see their content going to new markets and new countries. Ofer, this was great. We covered a lot of ground. And with your expertise, you were able to sort of really give a great understanding of where the opportunities are from a monetization perspective as well as an expansion perspective. Thank you so much for talking to us today, to Vitrina.
Thank you, Atul, for letting me on this podcast. Really appreciate it, and for the great community that you've created. I think that you are serving them very well.
Thank you so much, and wishing you and the Deep Dub team all the success in the live dubbing solution and some of the new markets that you are expanding into. Really fascinating work that you guys are doing.
Thank you so much, Atul.
Fantastic. Thank you.